This is Celebration TV. Revealing Jesus, releasing destinies. This is Celebration TV. Revealing Jesus, releasing destinies. This is Celebration.
Amounted to 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for joining us. Quickly look at the news making the rounds for today. EndSARS, a decisive issue for 2023 elections, says group. 10 years since Gaddafi's death, stability still eludes Libya. Lawmakers vote to hold ex-Trump aide in contempt. Dangote Group, MTN Nigeria, others get recognition. Messi scores twice to secure victory for League One side. Do well to stay with us to bring you the news in details just right after this time out. Welcome back. And now the news in full. EndSARS, a decisive issue for 2023 elections, says group. The Group Center for Advancement of Civil Liberties and Development has called on Nigerians to consider EndSARS agenda as a serious requirement to elect new leaders into the 2023 elections. In a statement by the co-convener Center for Liberty, Ariyo Daria Toye, the group said EndSARS should be taken as a serious issue, noting the prevalence of police brutality and the refusal of elected leaders to take decisive action against it. He said they continue to record high incidents of police brutality owing to the failure and insensitivity of the leadership that is obviously not committed to addressing the problem. He also said they must put EndSARS on the ballot in 2023 and make it a decisive issue for the next set of leaders in the executive and legislative arms. Atoya stated that the first anniversary of EndSARS should be the reason Nigerians seek change in leadership through the ballot. He added that marking the first anniversary of EndSARS, it is time to take the movement from street to ballot and seek the leadership that will enter a binding pact with Nigerians on how to address police brutality and other cases of human rights abuses. And moving forward, new amendment empowers INEC to use electronic voting machines, says Senate. The Senate said its recent committee proceedings carried out on the 2010 Electoral Act Bill 2021 would enable the Independent National Electoral Commission to make use of electronic voting machines whenever it had the capacity to do so. The spokesperson for the Red Chamber, who is also a member of the Conference Committee on the Electoral Act, Senator Ajibola Basiru, stated this while giving explanations on the latest action of the Senate on the proposed legislation. He said the amendment section 43 of the Act sought to introduce electronic voting machines as one of the materials that an agent of a party would be entitled to inspect. Bashiru said the section also empowers INEC to provide, whenever they have the competence to do so, electronic voting machines for elections. The amendment to Section 43, subsection 2 relates to two subsections. For instance, Section 43, subsection 1 now reads that the Commission, INEC, shall provide suitable boxes, electronic voting machines, or any other voting device for the conduct of elections. Basiru added that the amendments done to Section 43, subsection 3 would enable party agents to have access to electronic voting machines and other voting devices from the office to the polling units. In another development, Kano deploys 4,400 youths to preach hygiene, curtail COVID-19 spread. Not less than 4,400 youths have so far been engaged in Kano State to embark on house-to-house campaign to ensure behavioral change on hand-washing and best hygiene practices to combat the spread of COVID-19 pandemic in the state. The Managing Director, Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, Ibrahim Bichi, made this known in Kano as part of the activities to mark World Hand Washing Day in the state. Bichi, represented by his Director of Planning and Community Mobilization, Yusuf Abdullahi, said the youths, numbering 100 each from the 44 local government areas, would serve as change agents by sensitizing the people on hygiene and sanitation. He said so far the youths have reached out to 130,000 households. Work is still ongoing. The MD explained that the program was designed for the engagement of 100 youths in each of the 774 local government areas across the Federation. And now bringing you news stories from around Africa. 10 years since Gaddafi's death, stability still eludes Libya. The 10th anniversary of former Libya's leader Muammar Gaddafi comes as the country prepares for December elections, part of a United Nations-led peace process that some hope will help start a new and more peaceful chapter in Libya's history. Since Gaddafi's demise, Libya has fractured along regional and ideological lines with an assortment of mafia-like militias and their foreign backers vying for control of the oil-rich country. Many Libyans hope that the upcoming elections will help solve the crisis. The presidential poll is set for December 24 and the legislative elections in January. Gaddafi ruled Libya with an iron fist for 42 years after a 1969 coup against the monarchy, portraying himself as a revolutionary, Arab, and African hero while mercilessly crushing all oppositions. The ceasefire agreed to in October 2020 continues to hold, and the government of the national unity is hanging on as Libya's sole government. Other developments still from around Africa, East Sudan protests snarl trade, deepen economic woes. The demonstrations began when key eastern tribes opposing the transition of government in Khartoum blocked roads and stopped shipments at the Red Sea port. They are calling for the cancellation of parts of an October 2020 peace deal signed between the government and the rebel groups. 4 weeks since the crisis erupted in mid-September, basic supplies to the rest of the impoverished northeastern African nation have been delayed, triggering a fresh wave of shortages nationwide. Sudan has also been gripped by a bitter and deepening political divide among key factions, steering the transition under an August 2019 power-sharing deal. On Friday, Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok described it as the worst and most dangerous chapter facing the transition. Right now, we'll be taking a break, and when we return, we shall be bringing you a lineup of more news updates. Do well to stay with us.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
Welcome back. Still on News Desk, lawmakers vote to hold ex-Trump aide in contempt. A U.S. House of Representatives committee investigating the 6th January Capitol riot has unanimously supported holding a one-time top aide of ex-President Donald Trump in contempt of Congress. Steve Bannon was summoned to testify before the panel but refused to do so. If the full chamber approves the matter tomorrow, it would be referred to Justice Department, which has the final say on bringing charges. If convicted, Mr. Bannon could face a fine and up to 1 year in prison. Mr. Bannon, a former right-wing media executive who became Mr. Trump's chief strategist, has not publicly commented on Tuesday's vote in the 9-member House Select Committee. Also, 2 Republicans and 7 Democrats on the panel backed holding him in contempt. In her opening remarks, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican and vice chair of the committee, said Mr. Bannon had substantial advice, knowledge of plans for the protest on 6 January and of Mr. Trump's plan to discredit the presidential election result. Mr. Bannon was fired from the White House in 2017 and was not in government at the time of the riot. Mr. Trump has urged former aides to reject the House committee's request, claiming the right to withhold information because of executive privilege, a legal principle that protects many White House communications. He filed a lawsuit on Monday seeking to block the House inquiry from obtaining records from the U.S. National Archives. President Joe Biden's administration says Mr. Trump has no legitimate privilege claim. The riot saw Mr. Trump's supporters storm the Capitol building to disrupt certification of Mr. Biden's election victory over Mr. Trump. And more news unfolding: bring back rules amid rising cases, urge NHS chiefs. Some COVID restrictions must immediately be reintroduced if England is to avoid stumbling into a winter crisis, health leaders have warned. The NHS Confederation said ministers' Plan B backup strategy, including mandatory face coverings in crowded and enclosed spaces, should be implemented. The government says it has absolutely no plan for further measures, but is keeping a very close eye on the data. Daily COVID cases have been above 40,000 for 7 days in a row, with 43,738 new infections reported yesterday. Another 223 deaths were recorded, and the highest since March, although daily figures are often more on Tuesdays. The government's Plan A for dealing with COVID in England this winter is currently in place, with booster jabs offered to about 30 million people, a single dose of a vaccine available for healthy 12 to 15-year-olds, and people advised to wear face coverings in crowded places. If these measures are not enough to prevent unsustainable pressure on the NHS, then steps like making face coverings mandatory in some settings, asking people to work from home, and introducing vaccine passports could be considered as part of Plan B. Matthew Taylor, head of the NHS Confederation, which represents health service organizations, is urging the government to roll out the extra measures in Plan B to avoid hospitals becoming overwhelmed. He added that ministers should not wait for COVID infections to rocket and for the NHS pressures to be sky-high before the panic alarm is sounded. And now moving to the world of business, Dangote Group, MTN Nigeria, others get recognition. Dangote Group and MTN Nigeria PLC have been recognized for their brand image and presence in the Nigerian market by top 50 brands. According to a statement from the consultancy, Dangote Group emerged as the most valuable brand in the country, while MTN Nigeria was adjudged the most popular in a top-of-the-mid survey conducted among corporate executives in the country. The Chief Executive Officer of Top 50 Brands, Taiwo Oluboyede, said the subject of brand and branding had become central in corporations. He said it drove and determined corporate placement, particularly in unprecedented times. Globacom Nigeria Limited emerged in the 3rd position, followed by Coca-Cola Nigeria Limited. Others in the top 10 of the ranking were Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC, Airtel Africa PLC, Access Bank PLC, Zenith Bank PLC, First Bank Limited, and Duffield Primer Foods Limited. Still on business, road transport needs quick regulation, says the federal government. The federal government has described Nigeria's road transport sector as a completely disoriented industry that required urgent regulation. The Minister of State for Transportation, Gbemisola Saraki, disclosed this in a meeting with a section of automotive manufacturers led by the Chief Executive Officer, BKG Exhibitions Limited, and Chairman, Organizing Committee of Abuja International Motor Fair, Ifeanyi Chukwu Agu. She said the federal government was looking at how best to tackle the problems affecting road transportation across the country. She stated that it had been figured out that Nigeria had a lot of substandard vehicles on its road. On his part, Agu stated that automobile industry was under heavy stress and that has been affecting Nigerians in terms of cost of transportation and lack of safety in movement of goods and services due to bad vehicles. The BKG boss stated that policy inconsistency was one problem that had cost the auto industry a lot of money. Right now, we'll be taking another break, and when we return, it shall be news stories from the world of sports. We'll be right back.
What business are you planning to showcase to the world? That which will satisfy the need of humanity? Of course, with Celebration TV, it will get the desired reciprocation you long for. We are committed to giving your business and services that quality touch of class, and you will be happy you made the right choice by placing that investment of yours on the right platform. Without delay, you can call on this number for your advert placement, partnership, or sponsorship of our programs. Celebration Television, your best bet.
Welcome back, and now it's news stories from the world of sports. Messi scores twice to secure victory for League One side. Lionel Messi scored twice and Kylian Mbappe played a starring role but later missed a penalty as Paris Saint-Germain came from behind to beat RB Leipzig 3-2 in the Champions League. Mbappe had given PSG the lead at the Parc des Princes, but a Leipzig side beaten 6-3 at Manchester City earlier in the competition did not crumble in the French capital. Instead, goals from Andre Silva and Nodi Mukeli had them in front, and at the point PSG looked as if they might pay the price for another occasionally disjointed display. However, they were rescued by Mbappe and Messi. The Argentinian was set up by the France star for the equalizer, and then Kohli chipped in a 74th-minute penalty awarded for a foul on Mbappe. Mauricio Pochettino's team, who also saw Mbappe miss from the spot in injury time, are now top of Group A in the halfway stage, a point above City, who won 5-1 at Club Brugge earlier. Leipzig, beaten by PSG in the semi-finals in 2020, are bottom without a point to their name. For PSG, the win was achieved without Neymar, sidelined by an adductor muscle injury. In any case, the world's most expensive player has not really been himself this season. His one goal so far coming from the penalty spot, while Messi has been settling into his new surroundings. Mbappe has been the main man for PSG. In another sports news, and finally on News Desk, Haller hits 6th Champions League goal as Ajax trash Dortmund. Sebastian Haller scored his 6th Champions League goal in the 3 games as Ajax took firm control of their group with a ruthless display at home as they routed Borussia Dortmund 4-0. Ajax are on course for the last 16 with 3 wins out of 3 European games, and Haller remains the competition's top scorer after netting their 4th goal of the night with a crisp header. The Ivory Coast forward scored 4 goals against Sporting Lisbon on his stunning Champions League debut last month, then also hit the net against Besiktas. The result sees the Dutch champions top Group C 3 points ahead of Dortmund, as both clubs came into the tie with 2 straight wins. Dortmund's best chance came early in the second half when Haaland rattled the crossbar after Ajax goalkeeper Remco Pasveer parried his shot. It became a rout when Haller was left unmarked to hurt in Ajax's 4th 18 minutes from time to delight the passionate home crowd in Amsterdam. And that's the size of the news for today from News Desk on Celebration TV. But in case you missed out, here's a recap of the news making the rounds. EndSARS, a decisive issue for 2023 elections, says group. 10 years since Gaddafi's death, stability still eludes Libya. Lawmakers vote to hold ex-Trump aide in contempt. Dangote Group, MTN Nigeria, others get recognition. Messi scores twice to secure victory for League One side. And now to the photo of the day. Now this image clearly tells us that a tongue might have no bone, but then it is strong enough to hurt someone. This means that whatever you say with your words, you are able to affect someone, either positively or negatively. So it is important that when you address people, you choose your words wisely and carefully. We also want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the photo of the day? Get back to us via our social media platforms. On Facebook, Celebration TV. On Instagram, My Celebration TV. On Twitter, at My Celebration TV. And on YouTube, Celebration TV. Now, your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed, has backed his ways to success. So be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. So be a part of nation building today. I am Comfort James, and it is many thanks for watching.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikule Amosu